Victoria Beckham recently revealed that her daughter Harper wants to create her own skincare brand. On the face of it, that probably sounds perfectly normal, right? To a lot of people, a celebrity launching a skincare brand. Barely a celebrity, but that's the problem here, because Harper is only 14 years old. Not that long ago, kids played at beauty, right? They stole their mum's lipstick or face mask, made skincare potions out of shampoo or soap. I always used to put sand in for some reason, I don't know why. And basically we were pretending to be grown-ups. But now, a actual child is launching a skincare brand, and that doesn't even sound that ridiculous. It's just a normal part of the current world we are living in. Nowadays, skincare products are becoming the new must-have thing for kids. Children are using these harsh active ingredients, and every single day they're learning how to promote skincare or launch a brand on social media. They aren't just playing beauty anymore. Whether it's as a consumer, an influencer, or a brand owner, children are becoming increasingly involved in the beauty industry, particularly when it comes to skincare, more so than makeup nowadays. And it only seems like it's going to become more normalized in the next few years, which is terrifying. The skincare industry is coming for your kids, whether you like it or not. So today I want to talk about how skincare is pulling children into the world of beauty, some of the positives, some of the negatives that come along with this, and what products kids should actually be using, if any. Like I said before, for most people, beauty started as play. Maybe it was a toy makeup kit, a glitter body spray from Claire's Accessories, or like a really sticky free lip gloss that smelled like strawberry that they got free from a magazine. You pretend to do makeovers with your friends, do fashion shows with your parents, you dress up, you'd have fun, make a mess, and that was kind of it. It was a playful fantasy. It was about having fun. It wasn't real, but that seems to have changed massively in recent years. Today's kids aren't playing with toy makeup. They're using real skincare products. They're not just getting gifted the odd lip gloss or glitter spray. They're going on Sephora shopping trips, building multi-step routines, filming product hauls, and talking about ingredients like they are beauty influencers. I guess children haven't really stopped playing. They're just kind of like playing a different game now. Instead of playing dress up or pretending to be your mum doing her makeup or skincare routine like we used to, they're playing at being beauty influencers. And that makes sense, I suppose, right? Most of these kids grow up on social media with influencer culture in front of them every single day. It makes sense that they want to pretend to be like the creators they see on there. Every day they watch adults film their morning routines, review products, rank their favorites, unbox PR packages, show off these massive hauls, and link products for their audience. And children copy what they see. And the skincare industry has capitalized on this trend. A lot of newer skincare products are designed to be colorful, cute, almost collectible in some way, so they kind of appeal to children and are perfect for sharing online. They're made to look like smoothies, desserts, fruit, animals as well for some reason, basically anything that's cute. And often they honestly look more like toys than real skincare products. I don't mind it, I like a bit of skin entertainment, but is it on purpose? And the products, as well as the packaging, lends itself to the same kind of online content you often see with toys. Nowadays, it's all about the product being fun, brightly colored, interesting packaging, makes for good unboxing videos. Launching products that feel collectible makes people want to buy the full collection and boast about online, like it's a variety of flavor or scents with cute names, or it's like a crossover with a TV show. There's something to it that's fun. Even for me, Tony Moly is probably one of the best examples of this. They kind of calmed down in recent years. I swear there was like a law that said cosmetics now can't look like food in Korea, but I don't know if I made that up. They basically have a range of products that look like various fruits, or their collaborations with Squishmallows, for example. Another is Bubble, with their really brightly colored jars and bottles, products like Soft Swerve, which dispense the formula in an interesting way, and sometimes even packaging that looks like a Christmas cracker. Even the font on Bubble is fun. Other obvious examples are things like Charlotte Tilbury's Genshin Impact collaboration, Summer Friday's pastel lip balms with names like Toasted Marshmallow, Pink Sugar, Hot Cocoa, or maybe the most obvious, as we all know, is Drunk Elephant's brightly colored products and the whole smoothie making gimmick that the kids went crazy for a couple of years ago. They're over you now, Drunk Elephant. All these products have been hugely popular with teens, tweens, and sometimes even younger kids, both in terms of consumers, but also in terms of content creation. Having these brightly colored products, interesting packaging, or a collectible range that's part of a collaboration also helps make content around these products more exciting, whether it's unboxing videos, trying out about the products or literally just showing off your skincare collection, which is its own genre. Have you seen those people that almost have like these doomsday bunkers of body washes? They collect them all and they make these videos and it's like pre-shower routine and they're collecting all these different products. It's crazy. But as a kid, I could see why people might want that. It feels fun and playful, like playing shop. And this, at least in part, has led us to a weird situation where we have a whole generation of like mini skincare influencers all over social media. Because kids are the ones who these kind of products really appeal to, kids are also the ones making a lot of content about them. More and more children are becoming skincare influencers, showing off and promoting whatever products happen to be trending with kids at the time. So now not only are kids buying products that weren't even formulated for them, but they're encouraging other kids to do the same thing. They're filming their skincare routines, doing product hauls, and they're giving advice about skincare and ingredients to other kids. They're just like adult skincare content creators. The only real difference is the age, experience, and knowledge of the person in front of the camera and the fact that they don't need to be using it. In some ways, there's nothing wrong with that, right? I personally don't think children should be online, but children are learning more about skincare, learning how to talk about ingredients, how to speak in front of a camera, and how to engage with an audience. Basically, how to be a beauty content creator. And for a lot of people, especially younger people, it's a way for them to build their confidence and to express themselves. But there are also so many reasons it's concerning to see children acting as skincare influencers. For one, kids create skincare content for other kids, meaning that misinformation is spreading faster than ever. I mean, we've always had a problem in the skincare influencer space with some creators spreading misinformation that isn't accurate, information that isn't accurate, that's based in fear-mongering or that's completely made up to try and sell you something. But now that kids are learning from these kind of creators, they're then emulating these dodgy influencers and spreading the same misinformation and lies, often without even realizing what they're doing or saying is wrong. And I know it's not all child skincare creators who are doing this, right? Some of them have done a lot of research and for the most part know what they're talking about, probably because their parents told them, especially the older ones in their later teens. But there are also a lot who just repeat whatever they've heard their favorite influencers say without ever thinking to question it or knowing exactly what they're talking about. They're kids, and you can't even really blame them, right? We were all more impressionable and naive when we were kids. If we heard something from someone we trusted, we just believed it. We didn't question it. But telling your handful of friends that if you swallow chewing gum, it will stay in your stomach for 7 years, or that Marilyn Manson had a rib removed for certain reasons, is very different from telling your potentially thousands of followers on TikTok that they should be using a 12-step skincare routine with retinol, exfoliating acids, and peptides at the age of 11. The problem is, even though a lot of products are starting to look more like toys, they aren't actually toys. They're real skincare products, as we know, with real active ingredients in them, and there are now tens, if not hundreds of thousands of tweens encouraging millions of other kids to buy products that they don't need, and that could even be harmful to them. A recent study by Dr. Molly Hales at Northwestern University revealed that 31% of all skincare content creators on TikTok are under the age of 13. That is a crazy amount. That's a stupid amount, especially seen as TikTok is supposed to have an age limit of 13 and above. But basically, literal children who in the nicest way possible, for the most part, don't really understand what they're talking about, are giving other children skincare advice. These aren't just random kids making the odd video here and there. So many of them are part of brand ambassador programs and are getting sponsorships and PR packages from skincare brands on a regular basis. And it's really fucking weird. On the face of it, that's fine, I suppose. I mean, who am I to say they can't make money through brand sponsorships? But the problem is that people think and kind of know, and it kind of feels like brands are taking advantage of younger creators to push products that aren't suitable for children. It's got so bad that some countries are starting to take the issue pretty seriously. In Italy, for example, the Italian Competition Authority, which enforces consumer protection laws in the country, has launched an investigation into Sephora, Benefit, and their parent company LVMH, saying that these brands appear to have adopted a particularly insidious marketing strategy involving very young micro-influencers who encourage the compulsive purchase of cosmetics among young people. They said that they believe these brands had possibly been engaging in unfair commercial practices by attempting to sell anti-aging treatments to children under the age of 10, that they may have failed to make it clear that the cosmetics they were selling were not intended for children, and that they were appearing instead to have encouraged their purchase through covert marketing strategies involving young micro-influencers. And with how common this really questionable practice has become, I would not be surprised if more countries follow Italy's example in the near future. But there's one more reason why so many young kids are becoming skincare influencers and why it's a concern for me, aside from the fact that they're often promoting products that aren't suitable for other kids, that they're spreading misinformation that they got from other influencers or creators that have just misunderstood, and that there's a risk that they're being exploited by companies. There's also the fact that they don't seem to get to just enjoy being kids anymore. Kids used to play when it came to skincare and beauty. It was about having fun. It didn't need to become anything bigger, but now skincare can become content. Content can become an audience, and an audience can become a personal brand, and a personal brand can become a business opportunity. That's great in some ways, but it also means kids don't just get to play with beauty anymore. And even those who aren't creating content, they still face the same problem. Instead of being fun, skincare for many is just another thing that they have to be worried about now. It's a status thing for a lot of these kids nowadays. When I was a child, having the latest toy or games console, that sort of thing, was what we worried about, like the Tamagotchi craze, Furbies. Now you've got to worry about whether or not you're using the right anti-aging face cream if you want to fit in. Did you get the Drunk Elephant products you wanted because all your other 10-year-old friends did? And now this new obsession with skincare among children is just the first stepping stone into a world of anxiety that they shouldn't even have to experience at that age, because it seems like skincare is seen as a more acceptable gateway into beauty for children, which is weird, regardless of whether or not that's true. To me, it seems like a lot of parents seem to view makeup as something that's a bit too mature or grown up for their young children to be using, but skincare seems to be or feel more acceptable to them. I think a lot of people see skincare as a positive thing to do at pretty much any age, that's healthy, educational for their children, teaches them good hygiene, and is basically a more wholesome, like wellness focused aspect of beauty to get involved in than makeup. I don't agree with that. I think in some ways skincare is self-care, but not when it brings anxieties at an age that you just don't need it. But I can see why some parents might feel that way. And to be honest, I think makeup can be a healthy and positive thing for kids to be interested in as well. It just depends how it's done, like artistically, you know? But the exact same thing can be said for skincare. When it's taken too far, especially at an early age, skincare can cause real issues for your skin and your health. And unfortunately, this is becoming increasingly common as kids become more and more obsessed with adult skincare products and routines. While you're a child, your skin barrier isn't fully functional yet, which is why they always have the best skin. Shouldn't touch it. What are babies doing walking around with clear skin? It's crazy. We should be born with acne, then it should go, right? But that means it's so sensitive to irritants, and during this time, using harsh or active ingredients like retinoids, strong acids, fragrances, or alcohols can strip the protective layer of your skin, damage the skin barrier, and even cause allergic reactions or atopic dermatitis. Continually using products like this at a young age can make you more likely to get facial eczema or other long-lasting inflammatory conditions in the future. And using other products formulated for adults, like moisturizers or face masks, which might seem safe, can also worsen acne because they are more likely to clog your pores. I have posted videos about sheet masks, like burning kids' skin, because people also see sheet masks as a fun thing to do without really checking the ingredient list first. So despite often being viewed as a safer option for children, skincare still has to be done with care and to the appropriate level to avoid causing problems. But there might actually be a bigger problem with letting children get heavily into skincare at such a young age. When kids learn their skincare routines and what products to use from copying adults who have different skin goals and needs, they also learn to have the same insecurities and beauty standards as those adults. They see creators talking about getting glass skin, boosting collagen production using niacinamide, obsessing over anti-aging products, but they don't realize that these aren't concerns that they should have as children. And the products and ingredients that they're talking about are suitable or at least aren't necessary for their skincare needs. Like they don't need niacinamide. There's nothing inherently wrong or dangerous in niacinamide, you just don't need it as a kid. So skincare has become a gateway for young kids to enter the grown-up world of beauty, anxiety, way before they should ever even have to worry about it. Any of that. There are now millions of teenagers and even younger children worrying about preventing Botox, baby Botox, repairing their skin barrier, smoothing their skin, reducing appearance of pores, optimizing their skincare routine, boosting collagen production, lightening their skin, and overall obsessing over getting perfect skin, which just isn't going to happen when you're a kid or even a teenager. It's bad enough that adults have to put up with these beauty standards, but it's even worse when children are getting pulled into this world of beauty anxiety. And I know kids, especially teenagers, probably worry about the appearance of their skin quite a lot, but the increased popularity of skincare has given them even more to worry about when it comes to their appearance. And it's the way it's often talked about on social media. It's teaching them that there's something wrong with the way they look, something that needs to be fixed. And it's kind of sad that children don't seem to get to be just children anymore. And I feel like I'm sounding really old. It's because of the internet and TikTok, but it is because, you know, when we were younger, we were playing dress up as like firemen, nurses, vets, you know, all that kind of stuff. Now kids are playing dress up as influencers. Kids and teenagers shouldn't be worrying about preventing wrinkles or getting skin that looks like an adult beauty influencer. Skincare should still be fun and simple when you are a child. It shouldn't be making you look for every tiny imperfection on your skin. So if skincare shouldn't be that complicated or anxiety inducing for kids, then what should they be using? Pretty much every dermatologist and skincare expert agrees that children should just keep things as basic as possible. That means for a lot of kids, all they need to do is gently cleanse and a simple lightweight moisturizer if their skin is dry or sensitive, and a broad spectrum sunscreen of SPF 50 or higher when they're outside. That is it. That's all they really need. They just need a simple routine that focuses on protection and comfort rather than dramatic transformations or optimization. That way they learn the basics of skincare. That's literally all you need without doing any damage to their skin or worrying about things that they don't need to be worrying about yet. Now, obviously that routine will start to change or expand if they have a skin condition like acne, eczema, dermatitis, or other diagnosed skin conditions. In cases like that, a dermatologist might recommend retinoids like adapalene, tretinoin, or tazarotene, I think it's pronounced, as a targeted treatment for acne, or things like salicylic acid, which could be great for teens with acne, as well as conditions like dermatitis and psoriasis. When I was younger, a teenager, all we had was St. Ives and Clean and Clear, Oxy. That's all we had, which was basically a really strong alcohol-based salicylic acid toner. Teenagers who are breaking out, getting blackheads and large pores, they have so many options for salicylic acid toners nowadays. CosRx do some amazing ones. Porter's Choice has a nice gentle one. But it's important to remember that this isn't the same as someone using retinol to prevent wrinkles, or because they're trying to copy a glass skin routine they saw, or layering like a whole bunch of different acids, right? Because you saw it on TikTok. Someone using some of these ingredients because a dermatologist prescribed them to treat a specific skin condition is very different to someone using them for cosmetic reasons. Just because some kids need them doesn't mean other kids should also be using them. What experts also generally agree on is that children do not need anti-aging products. Obviously, retinol for cosmetics reasons, exfoliating acids for glow, resurfacing treatments, harsh physical exfoliants and scrubs, all the kind of complex routines that they're seeing online. And the reason for that is very, very simple. Aside from avoiding ingredients that could damage your skin, young people's skin is already doing a lot of what these products are designed to support. It already has fast cell turnover, strong collagen production, high elasticity, and very efficient repair mechanisms. Children's skin is already functioning at its natural peak. It doesn't need anything more than the basics. Using ingredients you don't need yet is a waste of money at best, and at worst potentially harmful. Skincare advice for kids basically comes down to this: cleanse gently, moisturize when needed, wear sunscreen when outside, and treat actual skin conditions if they occur. That's all. The goal is not to be healthy or to achieve some kind of perfect skin. It's just to treat what needs to be treated if anything needs to be treated. So with that said, what do we think about all these brands that have been popping up recently claiming to be specifically designed for kids? Are they a good idea? Do we even need them? Is kid-specific skincare a good idea? It's something that seems to divide a lot of people quite heavily. Some find the idea of skincare for kids to be dystopian and pretty much outrageous. Others think it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun to do with their kids and something that fills the gap in the market that needs to be filled. If I'm honest, I think it kind of falls somewhere in the middle is my view. And I spoke about this a little bit recently when Shay Mitchell launched her children's skincare brand, Rini. At first it sounds ridiculous and very unnecessary, and in some ways it is, but in other ways I can see why people think it's a good idea. The skincare part of the brand is basically just a range of sheet masks. There's nothing wrong with the ingredients in them. They're formulated to be gentle and to be fairly basic and non-irritating. They're going to moisturize at best. One of them is the After Sun Hydrogel Face Mask. I actually think that's a pretty good idea if your children have spent a long time in the sun and they need their skin cooling. It's pretty decent. Things like this are used in a medical setting to cool down the skin. But the problem is that even if the products themselves are harmless, it's still potentially normalizing children using skincare products that they just actually don't need, which, as we've seen, can quickly get out of control. It's arguably teaching kids to use products to fix their skin when there's nothing to fix. And bear in mind that the brand is apparently aimed at children 3 years and older. That alone is kind of crazy to me. Aside from the After Sun mask though, they also have a hydrating mask. Again, fine, it's not something kids really need, but it's not going to hurt them, it's going to moisturize. And then they also have their everyday facial sheet mask, which comes in 3 different animal designs. Again, formulated to be gentle enough to use every day, but that's already teaching kids a habit that could cause issues later on. I really am somewhere in the middle with this. Some people can use sheet masks every day if they're using one that's gentle enough, but dermatologists, again in general, generally recommend that you use them 1 to 3 times a week, because depending on the ingredients, it can lead to irritation. But Rinny isn't the only kids-specific skincare brand around at the moment, and there are so many others that are selling far more than just one face mask. So what about them? To be fair, I do get why opinion is so split on this topic, because I go in and out. I'm like, it's bad habits. I'm like, they don't need it, but also let them play pretend, but also no. Well, while skincare being marketed directly to kids makes a lot of people feel uneasy, for understandable reasons, the question is more complicated now. Whether we like it or not is more than that, because kids are already interested in skincare. And unless there's a ban on all social media for kids under a certain age, which I kind of agree with, I don't know, which is then actually enforced somehow, then they're probably not going to stop being interested in skincare anytime soon, if ever. So if that's the case, then is skincare for kids the solution? Probably not, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I get why some people think kids' skincare brands are the best way to reduce harm that might otherwise be caused by kids using skincare products that aren't formulated for kids. If they're going to use skincare products anyway, then give them simple, gentle skincare that actually addresses their needs, right? That could steer them away from harsher products with actives like retinoids, those acids, anti-aging formulas. And that's great, but are kids actually going to be using those products? I don't think so. Maybe the younger ones who are more likely to just use whatever their parents give them if the packaging looks cute, but as they get a little bit older, and see all the people who they're emulating on TikTok or other platforms talking about more exciting sounding products and ingredients, aren't they just gonna want those products and that's gonna be the next trending product again? Unless misinformation on social media is controlled better by the platform themselves, and unless we make more of an effort to educate kids on what their skin actually needs and why using trending ingredients or products that aren't meant for them could make their skin worse rather than better, then I don't see these skincare brands for kids changing much in the long run. But that doesn't mean they can't make a difference to some children, you know, even if it's only for a few years. If it's something you're interested in for your kids, either to try to get them away from the harsher skincare products or to teach them how to care for their skin properly at their age, then there are a few things you want to look out for. You want a brand that sticks to those basics that we talked about earlier, those gentle cleansers, moisturizers, and broad spectrum sunscreens. You also want to make sure their marketing does it best to educate kids about what their skin actually needs. There are some great brands that do this, so hopefully your kids don't get sucked into a world of adult skincare before their skin is ready for it. Avoid brands that seem to be jumping on trends or overcomplicating things if they're promoting overconsumption, pushing the idea of achieving perfection, or have an approach to skincare that just doesn't seem healthy, then they probably aren't the right choice for your kids. And obviously, avoid brands that seem to appeal to kids either through their branding and marketing or just because kids seem to have latched onto them for some reason, but aren't really brands that are focused on making products either specifically for kids like Drunk Elephant, Sol de Janeiro, Summer Fridays, Rhode, Bubble, Glow Recipe, and The Ordinary. It's not the case that these brands are bad. In fact, a few of these have spoken us out and said we're not for kids, but the algorithm just isn't telling them that these products aren't for them. And even if they have ranges designed for children or products that are suitable for children, the risk is that kids start off using the right products, but quickly expand into other products that the brand makes that aren't formulated for them because they want to collect again. Bubble and Drunk Elephant Life are probably perfect examples of this. At the end of the day, it's worth remembering that whatever the brand is, even if they're aimed specifically at children, it's in the beauty industry's interest to get consumers into skincare as young as possible. The younger someone starts engaging with skincare and beauty culture, the longer they'll be a paying customer for. So be especially wary of brands that seem to be mostly aimed at adults and have just recently come out with a range for kids, because that's just a pipeline that they'll take your children from using appropriate skincare for their age to using products and routines that are too harsh or complicated for them in no time. In my opinion, that's what I think they're doing. But where does all this actually leave us? I think it's important to be clear about what this conversation is not. Children using moisturizer or cleansers is not the issue. Children wearing sunscreen is a good thing and should always be encouraged. Teenagers treating acne or other skin issues with products that are appropriate for them isn't the problem. That's all a healthy way to engage in skincare as a child. It's about taking care of your skin. The problem starts when the taking care of it slowly turns into trying to make it perfect and performative. When children are taught through social media or any other source that their skin is something to constantly optimize, that there's something wrong with them that needs to be fixed, that being healthy isn't the goal, that's when skincare becomes a problem. That's why it isn't easy to say if child-friendly skincare brands are a good thing or a bad thing, in my opinion. On one hand, they could absolutely help reduce harm by steering children in the right direction and away from things that they shouldn't be using. But on the other hand, they can still reinforce the idea that skincare isn't just about being healthy, but about fixing every perceived imperfection, whether they're real or not. This isn't about whether children are allowed to care about their skin or enjoy being part of the skincare community. It's really just about whether they're being encouraged to see themselves as something that always needs improving, or that's never good enough. I don't think that's a message we want to be putting onto kids, but avoiding it seems almost impossible these days without major changes on how we teach children about skincare. But let me know what you think about skincare for kids. Do you think child-friendly brands are a positive thing overall? Are they an example of the worst parts of the beauty industry? And how do you think we can change the way children are thinking about skincare? Let me know in the comments.